we've been working hard here for months and then even years. And I hope, I still have my fingers crossed for an enormous landslide that will save us from the disinformation slaughter we're about to come up against. Here to talk about it with us are the rest of the hosts from the shows on Act TV. Let me bring them in. James from the Internet is here. Hi, James. How are you? Oh, yeah. There you go.
Mellow greetings, Julianna. How are you?
Mellow greetings on a day filled with such anxiety. That's nice. That's the kind of greeting I need. I am well. How are you?
I'm bracing for impact. I don't know about where you are, but I've had nonstop Trump caravans through and around my neighborhood for the last 4 days. I recently posited that it's much like the bees in the fall when it starts to get cold, and then they just start, haphazardly flying around low to the ground, bumping into crap because they're all confused and they don't know what's going to happen in the cold. It kind of looks like that. So little concerned.
Your recent piece, Busy Hive of Idiots, Trump supporters losing their shit because the end is near, was incredibly, well, it was also hilarious, but it was just incredibly on point. Let me let Messiah Rhodes into the stream here. Messiah is the host of Black Power Magic Hour. Let me move this thing off your face, James. I think everybody knows what we're there. You go. Messiah, how are you? How are you handling the day of?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, I feel like we're like bracing for impact, like James was saying, we're like on this spaceship about to crash into something. Hopefully we can get something out of it, get some supplies, get some space blankets to stay warm to the winter, and then,
I do think that a lot of people are hoarding up goods in order to get through the next couple of weeks without having to leave their homes.
And hopefully we ride to March and be a stimulus bill by then. So I don't know. That's the most optimistic kind of feeling I have what's going on here.
So you're in New York. I'm guessing you're not seeing a lot of Trump caravans in your area.
Well, fortly, there are Trump caravans in New York City.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
No, they're
from outside.
A great neighborhood, which has always has instances of kind of like racial kind of tension. Broad Channel in Queens, they had like a little caravan that came from Far Rockaway, Jacob Reese Beach, and they had like a dummy on the hood of a car, Antifa dummy on the hood of a car. But that's kind of like what they do. It's not shocking if you're from New York, that neighborhood. They pretty much like to drag dummies, black dummies, Spanish
they would drag
dummies.
real people if they were allowed to.
Yeah, so like they just had it. So now it's Antifa dummy now. So that's what they're dragging around now in Queens. So that's what Trump has allowed them to feel emboldened to do now. So
well, I have to drive to pick up my daughter through Trump land. I live in the country now. And Messiah and I were talking, James, about yesterday, just privately, about how I'm going to wear a red hat. I have a red hat. It's not a Trump hat, but it's a red hat. And maybe it'll throw people off the trail since I still have New York plates and I look.
Oh, yeah. I hear stories. Like this, like I have a friend, their cousin, Pakistani, who lives in Houston. And even years ago, they were like put like police bumper stickers on their Jeep, so they like throw people off, so that's like before these Trump caravans and whatnot. So it's just like just interesting to see how things play out. People are frustrated, and then the illusion of frustration, which is a little more like uneasy for me.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine
our frustration is based on reality. We're frustrated on real things. Like they're frustrated and like. I don't know, like they're making stuff up as they go along pretty much.
Tom Hanks is molesting children underneath a pizza parlor or whatever. They're mad about that. James. Oh, wait, you're muted. Come back here.
This is your factual reminder that Comet Ping Pong Pizza in Washington, D.C., which was the basis for the entire Pizzagate theory, where, they were apparently eating babies in the basement. Yeah. Ping Pong Comet Pizza doesn't even have a basement.
Just
gonna put that out there.
So, James, your recent piece, which I really loved about what I mentioned a minute ago, the busy hive of idiots. Can you talk about what we're seeing with these Trump people losing their minds? And what do you think is going to happen post this evening?
Well, to the earlier part of it, I'd have to say that a lot of the Trump people, that pressure, that ominous feeling that they're feeling, those footsteps they're hearing behind them, they are now getting to experience what all the Black Lives Matter protesters and left protesters have been encountering for the last 8 years, which is I'm out here impotently shrieking and nobody's going to listen to me because the person in the White House doesn't think the way I do. And they're now coming straight up against the point of realizing they finally had somebody who spoke their odd, weird, animalistic dialect for the last 4 years, and that's going to go away. And now they're feeling politically impotent, so they're going to go, run around and freak out and drive around and wave their flags. And basically, they're getting to experience what it's been to be like from the left. It got so bad, I heard this weekend they actually went out and completely stopped traffic. Got out of their car in the roads, walked around and stopped traffic.
The Tapestry Bridge, and they did it. On a Sunday in the Golden State Parkway. They did it in New Jersey.
They did it all over the country. Now, lest I be mistaken, these are the same people who have been hooting and hollering for the last 8 years. Like, if you block the road with your protest while I'm driving to work, I'm going to run you over, right? Now, all of a sudden, they're like, I think I'm going to stop traffic.
We have those F-150s and you have those F-350s and you're just doing nothing with it all day. I mean, you got to do something with it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, there are people
who
actually put
economic anxiety to have $80,000 pickup trucks. That's economic anxiety.
Yeah. The economic anxiety is getting people to spend $6,000 for an additional coal burn kit for their truck with pipes so they can blow black coal smoke out of it. But yeah, they're feeling very economically frustrated because they can only get the $6,000 coal version instead of the $8,000 coal version. So yeah, that must be rough.
Jocelyn Macurdy Keatts is here. Everyone on this program knows Jocelyn because she's a member of our act.tv team. Jocelyn, thanks for joining us here on the act.tv square table, I guess it is today. I appreciate it. You're in DC, and I noticed one of your Facebook posts said something like, gee, it seems a little tense around here today. Is there something going on? I thought
yes, it is. Hi. How is everybody?
Hey,
So are you guys going to be going out in the streets later? I'm still trying to decide.
Well, Jocelyn, give us a sense of what it is, what's going on in DC right now. I know everyone's kind of still stuck in their house because of the coronavirus, but your sense of can you see the wall from your house that he's building around the White House?
Well, yeah, I live a couple blocks from the White House, and I went on a walk last night at like midnight, and it's kind of crazy down there. There are definitely the wall of Black Lives Matter art is still up, which is beautiful. And then there is just like all this security. I know that there are going to be protests / celebrations later. So I think we're all in America just sort of poised for whatever the next 12 hours is going to bring.
Yeah.
I'm having this feeling of like, okay, I did what I can do. That's it. I can't hold on to this anymore. I'm going to watch, obviously, and be on top of everything as we all are. But I it's that feeling of like, I did everything I could do at this point.
Yeah, if aliens come tonight, I won't be surprised at this point. So you get invaded by aliens tonight. Oh, sure, finally, that makes 2020 make even more sense now. So.
Yeah, really. Does anyone think there's going to be like a sweep of some of these states that would really put it to bed tonight? Florida, Pennsylvania, Texas? No.
Nope. I mean, I would be reasonably sure that they will call Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio tonight all for Biden. I'd be fairly sure on those three. Trump even brought up the Supreme Court review of the Pennsylvania declaration that they're going to be counting mail-in ballots, a week after the election still. And he was looking for that, right now announcement, because again, he knows that more Democratic voters than Republican voters are mailing in ballots, that over time, the more of them they count, the more it's going to skew towards Biden. So I think I'm assuming Florida and Pennsylvania will stay up in the air past tonight. But the Rust Belt lockup's looking pretty good unless something, really weird and unexpected happens. So it's all going to come down to.
I want to see Texas blue. Blue is Jocelyn's shirt. That's what I want to see. I want to see that map light up. Blue Texas.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but they got close last time when Beto ran before he started jumping on tables and out of the political sphere. They're trying
to stop ballots by the thousands in Texas right now.
180,000 was the last batch that they tried to get discounted. So again, it's even if they called stuff tonight.
We did report today that Texas Harris County, which is a large percentage Black and Latino, I don't want to get the numbers wrong. We reported on the earlier program today that those ballots are going to be counted because they stopped the trying to get rid of them. They were here it is. Here's that news story. That federal judge in Houston thwarted that last-ditch push by Republicans to toss out 127,000 ballots. Drive-in ballots people have dropped off. Harris County has 20% Black, 43% Latino. And, they stopped it. So we are having some victories down there. And by we, I mean democracy. I don't necessarily, I want actual democracy. Now, that's easy for me to say when most people I know, most people in the United States, the majority of people in the United States feel the way I do. I don't know how much I would want democracy if everyone's like, you know what, we're gonna make women stay in the house. You know what I mean?
Well, but I think the point of democracy is that most people wouldn't feel that way. If you have a truly democratic system, people aren't going to advocate against their own rights. That's why fascist regimes are, by definition, a minority rule situation. I mean, I guess you get a few people with Stockholm syndrome, but not everyone.
Yeah, I like the recent push in America, how all we've been talking about for 200 years is everybody fighting for and gaining the right to vote because it's a sacrosanct right. And now that we're pretty much set on mostly everybody getting the right to vote, now we're like, yeah, but counting the vote's a completely different thing. I mean, you can definitely vote. 50-50 if we're going to actually count it or not. So, I'm glad to see we made all that progress. That's
yeah. I mean, you still have these weird situations. I mean, you have like the first vote in outer space by some white lady in outer space, and then at the same time you have Jalima Takim, who just came out of prison after 48 years. He just came out of prison and this is a crazy election, so he's going to vote too. He's in Rochester, and then he gets arrested for registering to vote after being 48 years in prison. So you have this side of the things happening. You also have people doing space votes. Yet somehow it's still making it difficult for people to vote, but yet you can do a space vote. So what does the vote even mean to people sometimes? So
Trump must be expecting that Biden's going to win in a landslide. Otherwise, how would he be out there saying, "Oh, this election isn't valid"? Because wouldn't some of his people be also voting by mail?
Nope. Yeah. I mean,
I guess they don't believe in the coronavirus, so they're all just going to line up at a
they're voting right now. They're all crowding up and voting right now in line.
Voting.
Yeah. Didn't you forget the post office is an evil communist organization? So only communists would a stamp and put an envelope in a mailbox.
Yeah, they're gonna. I don't trust the post office. They're gonna take it and put it in the rivers and put it on the roofs. What he said, like in the creeks.
They're shifty. Yeah, I think my mailman looks like Stalin. So I'm a little concerned.
Jocelyn, what are you going to be doing this evening?
I'm kind of in a state of existential suspension because I really want to go out, but so it's my call if we go, which means if it's not safe, I'm going to feel like shit because I asked Seth to come out with me and be, it's a really weird situation. I don't think
that's bullshit that they're putting it on you. You just say, I'm going, and if you want to come, make your own decisions.
Well, no. I mean, they're down to go, but I can't. You guys know I can't be like. I guess I could go out with my phone, but I mean, it wouldn't really be as. Maybe that's what I should do. So I know that a lot of Bernie organizers are planning to organize in the White House area, I think, but they're going to have a go-go truck and all the big DC protest movement types of things. And what's crazy is James would probably be better to speak on this. There are also a lot of exciting right-wing type of people who appear to be in town. So the question is, do we put ourselves in a situation to make new friends? That's always the question, isn't it? James, do you think I should go or not?
I mean, for what it's worth, I have about 8 or 9 different independent media friends, some who live in DC, some who traveled from out of town to come into DC, I saw one of them was actually live streaming last night at about midnight from the newly renamed Black Lives Matter Plaza across the street, across from Lafayette. So there's people down there I could probably set you up with who are already out there with, flak jackets and helmets and cameras who are doing that sort of work.
I would like to see Jocelyn in that outfit. I know there's a lot of pictures of Jocelyn in nice outfits on the internet. I want to see you in the flak jacket, please.
With the big helmet, yeah. But no, to Jocelyn's point, so the leader of the Oath Keepers, which is one of the larger militias in America, and it's one that's based on people who have taken a constitutional oath because they were either in the military or the police. So they got about 40,000 militia members. And their leader has been, giving interviews all week talking about how they have people stationed, quote, in and around DC to prepare to, and I'm going to quote here, repel an Antifa terrorist attack on the White House. So that's a thing. Yeah, that's.
You're the Antifa terrorist attack on the White House.
I know. I mean, I'm terrified of me. Like, wow, think about what we could really do. A bunch of hippies with social media accounts.
Yeah. Okay, people have so great imaginations that they use to like buy bullets and guns for, rather than do something else with it. But
I'm going to say this.
That's white supremacy for you.
I don't know, as your friend and someone who lives nowhere near there, so there's nowhere really for me to go. It's not like you're fighting for something. You're not like in the street protesting or supporting. Do you know what I mean? It would be like celebrating. So you're putting your body on the line for a party, which there's going to be violence. I'm saying if we were like having to fight to protect the vote, or having to fight to make sure that people know that Black Lives Matter, that kind of thing. Okay.
It's funny you say that, because when we were in Lafayette Square for the infamous Bible moment, that felt very worth it. And this feels a little bit more like, I don't know. It's a really interesting, and I think it's actually probably something that we all should be thinking about in this country. Like, what do you risk for protest? How do you protest safely? Because it is incredibly important. If we all were out in the streets constantly, these motherfuckers would have to behave. So it's always a big question, right? That said, I don't want to die. I don't know.
That's why they ended unemployment benefits. Because I was giving people a lot of time and money to go out in the streets in May and April, pretty much. But like, I feel like I feel like this, like, gun violence in this country is just like kind of like you have more odds of killing yourself with your own gun than someone killing you with a gun. So when it comes to tonight, it's probably going to be a lot of suicides. So when it comes to like gun violence at a movement and protests, I mean, like, I don't know, just like the odds of that is just like
super low.
Yeah, I mean, we feed into the kind of imagination that the right has when it comes to like violence that they think is happening. They think like Antifa soldiers are like ninjas, like going on their roofs and like going in their windows and taking their kids and like, throwing cans at them and like all kinds of stuff.
You know what?
That's not even happening.
I mean,
like the violence is going to always, when you see violence in these protests, it's always from them. Their heads make the violence, and they create these hostile situations at protests. They're always the ones who think we're the hostile ones.
Oh, I'm not calling us the hostile ones, to be clear.
Yeah, we're the hostile ones. No, we are the hostile ones. We're like we fill airplanes with like Antifa soldiers. We have like these intricate networks that we send people over the country. We have all these things.
Secrets, Messiah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm definitely concerned about their behavior, not
They don't know about the satellites we have as well. We also have a satellite network,
James, so. How is it that we get across the fact that Antifa stands for anti-fascist, and it's anyone who is, it's an idea. It's not like a movement.
I've been preaching about this one for years. I've moved past it.
No, I'm bringing it back.
Well, no. Well, I have a new ploy now. So I have a whole thing that I run with the Antifa thing, which is if you think that there's a whole bunch of activists organizing in the background to do Antifa things with complicated plans involving blueprints and technology and people having code names on a radio. Apparently you've never sat around 6 people on the left trying to decide what goddamn sandwich to have for lunch. Okay?
Yeah. Can we have trickle fingers with the pepperoni or
So
vegetables?
In general, that's what I tell people when they talk about the violent Antifa planning against destroying against America. I'm like, honestly, man, these people can't even decide what the hell to get from Subway together. Like, I think you're okay.
An option.
I mean, it's a little ridiculous. It really is. But the anti-fascist thing's been going along for damn near 100 years now, and the fact that people are just getting hyped to it, also concerning. But that's its whole other topic on education in America that we could talk about another time.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize that the idea about the left is free thought. We're not like just the right, just moving one singular, no purpose to one leader kind of like ideology that they follow in their side. We're more like kind of all these dots moving in the same direction, but this way, that way. So the idea is some like multinational, international, I don't know, it's just conspiracy army.
That's why they're so mad, because they just want to know who the Black Lives Matter leader is so they can kill him.
Yeah. Who's your leader? Who's your leader?
Wall Street was the same thing. They're like, but who's in charge? We need to know.
Are you the leader? Oh, yeah. Who's in charge?
Yeah.
Yes. Look around. It's obvious literally nobody is in charge.
Yeah.
They're always barking up the wrong tree.
So how are you going to be taking in the messages tonight? Are we watching MSNBC? Are we going to be looking at our Twitter feed? Are we doing all the same things?
God.
Are we going to watch Twitch? What are we doing to get the message tonight of what's going on?
I mean, myself, I know I'm going to be doing a little work on Twitch tonight with some of our cohorts and friends over on their channels. And then I might actually go out later tonight with a camera and check out and see what's going on either in downtown Portland or downtown Providence or downtown Boston, because it's kind of nutty up here.
You should definitely go to Providence, because I'm just going to vote for that, because you got this all my people are there and they've all turned to the wrong side of history. So it'd be like an Italian uprising for things upon which that they have built their riches that they don't want anyone else to have. Anyway, they get in trouble with the Anti-Defamation League here.
Yeah, but that's my plan. So I don't know. What's everybody else planning on doing tonight?
Go.
So, probably similar. Most likely be out at whatever is going on.
The Black Power Magic Hour is going to go live at 10 o'clock on Twitch and Facebook.
Awesome.
Virginians. So we're going to hopefully check in. We like to check into like C-SPAN, kind of. Hopefully C-SPAN has like a coverage. We like to avoid the MSNBC, CNN kind of thing, and then we just talk over C-SPAN. So, and hopefully have Twitch and Facebook chime in, and we hang out and deal with this like freight train going off the tracks tonight. So,
well, hopefully for you, you'll be watching C-SPAN when they have one of their viewer call-in segments, because they are golden, like every time, just pure gold.
I am doing nothing. I am literally, I'm sorry to say, I'm putting my kid to bed. And then I'm going to hope she doesn't wake up while I watch TV and look at Twitter. The thing I said I was going to do, and I'm going to maybe tweet support to my friends who have already asked me to be available to them so that they don't jump off a roof. So many people who are just watching like mainstream media. I have friends in all different age categories, and some of them, especially the older ones who just kind of watch mainstream media, they're literally losing their minds. So I am very grateful for you people and for the internet, to be honest, because I feel like all of the different people we talk to on our show, all the work that James does, Jocelyn, your show, Messiah, how you make me laugh so much on it just kind of keeps me, I'm ready. I'm ready for the information war. That's what we talked about earlier on this show. I'm ready for what's about to happen. There's no way you're going to shock me. I'm ready for like the Russians to turn out the lights, because that's something they've been saying they're going to do, like attack infrastructure, electricity infrastructure. I might not be ready to have my lights off because it's cold, but I'm ready. I feel like I'm prepared not to be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, if Trump comes out and claims victory for no reason at 2:00 in the morning, and then we wake up and have to deal with that shit, then so be it. But we're all prepared for this kind of different scenarios, so we see what happens.
I mean, that's the thing that's so psychologically jarring about this. It's not as if Trump is the first terrible president we've ever had who does terrible things. What's bizarre is that we don't really even know, even if we win the election, we don't know if he's going to leave.
We don't know if he's gonna leave. That's the problem with this whole, like, even though we have the most historical 100,000 people voting, like quarter of the country,
Right.
more than quarter of the country, is still worried that this man's not going to leave. It's like,
Well, I would, now that Julianna said nothing can surprise me at this point. So thanks for cursing us with that one, Julianna. Because apparently you missed the last 4 years of Trump going, hold my beer. Apparently you missed that.
You're right. I just meant it next week. I just meant in the next week. That,
oh yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. And yet, I said this before, usually election night's the end. You're like, oh, phew, you exhale, you pop the top button on your pants, you lean back at the couch, you're like, oh, I can finally relax.
Yeah.
Now? No. Election night's like day one. Y'all got like another 70 days to go.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning. So
I don't
like
think we're gonna
2000.
make it if we get Trump again. I mean, I that's where I can be surprised, because I don't think I can even visualize what will become of this country if he wins, whatever that might mean.
I mean, I'm sure there were towns.
Yeah.
There were townsfolk all over Europe postulating what the world would look like without the Weimar Empire in '33. Also, and I said it's just the beginning. The next 2 months are going to be really, really fascinating in a disturbing way.
That's true. I mean, we don't have to worry about getting bored. There is a lot to think about.
Getting killed.
You want to go on a road trip?
Yeah. Sure. Honestly, at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a question for you, because we're all media makers and we're all not that famous for doing it. Okay,
Nope.
so
Speak for yourself. I don't. What?
Oh, sorry, Jocelyn. You're right. The rest of us are low level, on a D list so
I was
far.
joking.
I thought it was like D list or something, but I think
Well,
it was D.
Given the fact of what historical regimes have done to, I mean, not just people who speak against them, but also like scientists and gays and, these different groups. How in danger do you actually feel if Trump gets in again?
I mean, I'm default. I'm a generic middle-aged heterosexual white dude, who lives in a
But look at the things you say about
suburban
capitalism.
neighborhood. Listen, unless it's one of the random 3,000 people out of 300 million that live in the country who've actually seen my crap online, I'm good. It sounds like people are running up to me at rural New England going, James from the internet? I saw what you said last week, and that was very mean.
That did happen to me once. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
Yeah. When I was on, I shouldn't say this, but when I was on the Young Turks, people would be like, are you the one who hosts that show? And it happened several times.
Yeah. Advice. Random stuff would happen. One time, a whole bunch of stories. Like I got $500 off from a transfer ticket fee because they recognized me from the Vice show.
No one gave me any money.
That was my first celebrity Z-list moment I had. Like, whoa, this got me money off something. Cool. I was on that show, even if it wasn't the right show. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, come on, we've all made at least 20 episodes of the wrong show.
Yeah.
I spent too long at CNN, so I get you.
Yeah.
Well, James, you're making me feel better. So you're saying they're not going to go after me unless, I become important?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, I mean, in theory, honestly, for the next 2 weeks, who I'm the most concerned for? Random middle-aged people who drive around with coexist bumper stickers on their cars. Like, those are the people I'm the most concerned for the next 2 weeks, because those are the people that the Trump lift kit pickup truck people look for.
Yeah,
Suburban mom coexist.
Bernie 2016. You know.
Yeah, those people. You know, people who live in Vermont and still haven't taken off their 5-year-old bumper sticker from Bernie's first campaign. Yeah. That's who they're looking for. Me, I think I'm fine.
Jocelyn, you were a Bernie organizer this past cycle. Can you talk about what the Bernie folks are planning on doing once Biden wins? Let's just do that.
I mean, it depends. It's kind of a diverse group because you have a lot of people on the Bernie campaign who are normal DC establishment people, and a lot of those people went on to work for Biden. And you have a lot of people who are just sort of, you know, really, what is the nice way of saying hippies? That just sort of
nice. I like that.
That were sort of there for the Bernie campaign and have since gone on to eat granola in the woods. I mean, it's sort of a diverse campaign. So, you know, I mean, the Washington establishment types are still here doing consulting on different DC things. And yeah, like I said, there are definitely like Bernie communes, I think, that sprang out of the campaign. I'm not making this up.
I mean, when Bernie talks, he says, you know, we really need to get Joe Biden elected because fascism is on the march, and at least Joe Biden's not a fascist, whatever you think of him.
Right.
And then he talks about, you know, the additional work that needs to be done. So I feel like although Trump was the one who said stand by and stand down, the Bernie people are kind of standing by and standing down until whoever gets elected, and then we'll know what our route will be, especially if Biden gets elected, they will be pushing from the progressive side. And I think he is actually vulnerable to pushing from the progressive side. What do you guys think about that?
I think that generally speaking, trying to sway a centrist candidate is not something to be optimistic about. However, in the case of Joe Biden is someone who as a person is very susceptible to feedback in a way that's sort of more unique. I mean, this is a guy that like legitimately has shifted his platform to a more progressive place. And that's always sort of who he's been as a politician. He's someone who listens to, and I'm not a Joe Biden fan, clearly, so I hope this doesn't sound overly positive. But I do think that...
But vote for him today if you haven't already.
Right, of course. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's toxic to engage in hyperbolic levels of optimism about any politician. But I think that we have a better chance than we would have with Hillary, for example. How do you guys feel about it, though?
I think that a ham sandwich should be able to beat Donald Trump. I mean, have you seen the last 4 years? Like,
oh yeah, I wasn't criticizing Joe Biden.
No, I'm saying, like, I mean, Biden happened to be in. I mean, even if Biden turns out to be like a complete zombie president who, you know, the majority of his cabinet positions are filled by, and the majority of his, you know, policy introductions, you know, come from, you know, DNC leadership, you know, Perez, Clinton, Obama, et cetera, you know, Podesta. Like either way, I know it. I'm on the left. I think there's a better chance of pushing left from the left than having to run 80 miles an hour full force, smack into encroaching fascism with the mask off. I mean, I just think it's an easier push for me, especially because you would have thought that the encroaching fascism would have brought like more people to the table. And the fact that it didn't, it means that I really would rather be pushing from the left than dealing with the encroaching fascism thing, because the minimal amount of people who have come up to stand against full-throated fascism is making me wonder if anybody teaches 1930s history before they teach 1940s history when they teach World War II in high schools.
No, actually, James brings up an excellent point. And I think this is something that we should talk about more. We don't talk about the 1930s. What we do is we show the dramatic Holocaust movies, and it's like the sad little girl and her, you know, dress, and then like, and it's like as if it just happened.
Yeah, that before the brown shirts, before they even had brown shirts, there were actually this thugs in the street, which is kind of similar to what we're having right now. It's just like, that's what was like kind of what was happening, vigilante violence. That was like the beginnings of fascism. It wasn't just like all of a sudden you had shiny boots and like planes, a bunch of planes flying in unison. It was just like a accumulation of, misinformation and like, fever pitch kind of like nationalism and like all these different aspects that led to like, industries like making tons of money, like Henry Ford, so it's like all these different things all happening in the 30s and 40s that exploited the German people that led to like full-blown fascism. And people don't see that components. I mean, like the Nazis went to the United States. They went to the United States and saw what we were doing. Like, oh, you guys are cool here. Let's bring some stuff here. Some of the stuff is too crazy, like we do with the black people, but we can just do something else. We're gonna do something else just as crazy, but not as crazy as what you're doing. But like, so they came here and studied like our ideologies in some ways. So people don't really understand that aspect of like Nazism and fascism. So in the 30s and 40s,
Well,
so.
I have to say, I absolutely love all of you. It's very nice to see you live here on this program. And I don't understand why we don't do this more often. So expect calls. James, I will talk to you tomorrow. I can't remember what time we're on, but we'll figure it out. I think it's 10:15. So by then.
But by then, I will have washed out all the tear gas from the protests I go through tonight. So I should be full of vim and vigor to do some post-voting wrap-up with you on Wednesday morning.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the work you're doing to make act.tv so awesome with all the different voices and all the great content. I really appreciate it. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitch, don't forget to tell your friends. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hey, you want to subscribe because all these people are on there and everyone has their own show and they're all awesome.
I hear good things. Yeah.
Yeah, we good for today. Thanks you guys. I really appreciate it.
Bye, gang.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.